Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, not that replay, this one. We're going to show off another Domination mode game, and you'll notice I'm not playing the Dark Elves. Yes, well, with the new update, which I'm very excited about, has a lot of really cool changes to the Domination mode in terms of its pacing. We'll get into that in a bit. I think makes the Dwarves, as well as the buffs that they got with the patch, more exciting to play. So we've got a game here with them. I'll be playing the Dwarves, I think, for a little while. I'm having a lot of fun with them for now. Now we're coming up against this Tzeentch loadout, which is very standard. We got Spawn, we got Chaos Warriors, we got some Forsaken, and Flamers in the reinforcement pool. Other than that, just more Forsaken, a cheeky Chariot, because why not bring a Chariot versus the Dwarves? And if I didn't mention it yet, Sorcerer Lord coming in with Pink Fire, Blue Fire, and the Infernal Gateway. So, yeah, a lot of damage output in terms of magic from the caster, but otherwise a relatively cheap option for Tzeentch. And me going with a very elite build up front, Belagar, of course, being just for supreme tank. I figure Sigvald's very good right now for bulk. Of course, he regenerates, but Belagar is just also very bulky, and what with the Oathstone, he can confer that bulkiness to his nearby troops, and Revenge Incarnate allows him to put some serious hurt on enemy lords if he needs to. So we went with that. Of course, we decided to go with the Runesmith as well, because I think rune magic is very strong, and not bringing it is kind of bad in the same way that not bringing a spellcaster is bad. So we decided to bring that. Got him outfitted with the damage resistances, the slowness, the Wrath and Ruin, and the Rune of Breaking as well. So yeah, other than that, we try to keep it cheap and cheerful in the back line. We got the Rangers, of course, because the Vanguard deployed, and of course they're very cheap as far as ranged options go for the Dwarves. We got a few miners with blasting charges. We also got the Ekron's miners, one more blasting charge there. Some Dwarf Warriors, just a unit of standard miners just to fill out some of the gold. But the other tech that we've got, of course, is we do have the Skyhammer, which we included just because it's mobile, it's quick, it can do a lot of infantry damage, so therefore maybe it's good to summon. We got the Grumbling Guard and the Slayers, which are very typical, of course. Now the Trollhammer Torpedoes, we are on the Mountains of Morn map, and the Trollhammer Torpedoes are going to be just to provide an anti-large option that isn't artillery for us. And to go with that theme, we've also got the Bugsman's Rangers, because it's quite a large map. And Bugsman's Rangers are great because they're Vanguard deploy, they've got a good crossbow damage, but of course they also do pretty well in melee, so you can actually send them in to fight certain cheap units depending. They would tear up Blue Horrors in melee, I think, but they'd also outshoot them. So, just a very flexible unit. They've got the regeneration, of course, which makes them very good value, which now that the game mode is longer, should be good. So let's jump in here and let me just quickly explain the changes. So basically, if you captured a point in the old patch, it would take you 1,000 ticks, right? So 1,000 accruements of points from that capturing. So 1,000 ticks to win, right? If you controlled 1 point for 1,000 ticks, you would earn enough points to win, right? So obviously if you control 2 points, it's half as much, so on. Yes, yes. Now in the new patch, it takes you 1,500 points per point. So if you, basically it's 500 more ticks of controlling a point in order to win. So that adds up to basically 500 more seconds of control. So basically it's a lot more extra time, and it makes the game, I think, feel a lot less hectic. You can be a little bit more strategic about your engagements. You're not just rushing forward with as many infantry as you can anymore. I think you actually have to pick engagements a little smarter. So here comes the Chaos Lord. Let's get into the battle. He's going to be trying to cast some magic, but we got the Vanguard deploy of the Norgrimlings, Ironbreakers, and the Rangers here to move up, take the center. We also got some Rangers and Miners who also Vanguard deployed a bit forward to just try to get up and take point 1 fairly early. The magic coming in there, not doing much damage at all to the Rangers. Now we got a unit of Miners that we summoned very early over here, and basically I wanted to see if he maybe left this point undetended in like 5 minutes, and then I just moved the Miners up and onto the point there. So I decided to summon them early, figured it was a cute play. We'll see. So I got my 3 units of Longbeards marching up, and Longbeards of course giving the encourage aura, meaning that they can encourage each other, giving leadership buffs, meaning they can just hold the line forever, take any kind of punishment more or less. Runesmith going with them to make sure that they are able to hold for super long, and we're throwing some crossbow bolts out at the Chaos Sorcerer. And you can see that we haven't cracked his shield yet, so it's kind of a waste of ammo, but at the same time, if we let him just sit out there and cast with impunity, then that's a problem. But he charges in to my Iron Breakers just to slow them down, because here come the Flamers he summoned, so we don't want to be instantly roasted by the flames. They do have armor piercing after all. So we run, and you can see that we get pretty roasted, we get pretty toasted. Losing quite a lot of HP already, but we move back. We now have our crossbows up to shoot the Flamers, but the Sorcerer Lord able to summon some Chaos Spawn, which I didn't realize. But yep, you know, he's able to summon some Chaos Spawn, so they come forward and charge into my Rangers, which is bad news. These Spawn will eat Rangers for breakfast. But I do have the Echoed Miners, who are going to throw in the satchels, a little friendly fire, but ultimately I'm doing much more damage. Oh, and speaking of satchels, look at this. This unit of Marauders completely destroyed by the bombs of the Norgrim's Ironbreakers, and some more satchels being thrown by these miners on the side here, who managed to get most of their ammunition off on these Marauders of Tzeentch and the Spawn. And my crossbows on the Rangers would have been fine to support, but of course the Fury's coming in, so I pull in 2 units of Longbeards over here to start trying to push through this hole. We'll bring the Runesmith as well. Meanwhile, look at this. Norgrim's Ironbreakers on guard mode can still throw their satchels even while in melee combat, and they're going to just punt these charges over the heads of the Marauders into the Chaos Warriors, so that's doing well. Belagar, having routed off that unit of Marauders, needs to be told to charge forward, but alas, I'm not handling it so well. And here comes the Weird Spawn, having gone the long way round. They're now going to charge into my mess. I'm still just trying to get things forward. Some Dwarf Warriors to help take the weight of this point, because you can see it's still belonging to Tzeentch. We've got 2 units sitting over here just guarding this point, so I haven't moved my miners yet. Over here on point 1, we just have 1 Longbeard guarding that, but we're trying to get some pushes through, get some rune magic going. But these Spawn are proving quite tenacious. Over here, these Spawn are just going in and through. They've gotten into these new Bugman Rangers I summoned. They've routed off the 2 Rangers I had here. These Dwarf Warriors are going to get shredded by them. Also got some Ekron's Miners, but they'll be too slow to deal damage. Meanwhile, the Flamers have found an angle on my Norgrim's Ironbreakers and starting to roast them, so that's bad. I'm holding up some chariots right now with Belagar, but they're going to start causing havoc over here. These Spawn are starting to get worn down. The Hammer of Karak being used to debuff them to help us tear them down a bit easier. And some magic. The Infernal Gateway there causing trouble, but my opponent running his Weird Spawn away from my recently summoned Iron Drakes, throwing a new unit of Furies on them to distract. But we do have our crossbows coming back from routing. We did summon some Slayers, and these Bugsmith Rangers are firing on the Weird Spawn still as I move forward with my Miners and Warriors. But Norgriblings still holding the line like champs against Weird Spawn, against Warriors, Marauders, you name it. And even Belagar having to hold a line, but still no control, no weight on the point. More Spawn coming in. It's a bit of a hassle. Forsaken are here now as well, but Longbeard's actually more than a challenge for the Forsaken. These crossbows pretty much destroyed. These Longbeards getting ready because there's a unit of Marauders coming in from the flank, so I'm waiting to see what else he'll summon. I decide to send some Bugman Rangers over here just to make sure I have enough there to contest the point. Iron Drakes and Bugsman Rangers are now free from the Furies. I should move them up, get on these these chariots. But the Slayers are here and they'll make short work of these chariots too. The Miners tearing down the last of the Spawn there as they move forward now into the main mass to support Norgriblings, who are holding so well. They've had their armor sundered. There's been the Warp Flame debuff, which also lowers armor. But even with all that, they still have over 80 armor. And the Expert, the Mighty Oathstone, also being used off cooldown. And they're holding super well, super well. They still have, how many units? 80 units. They have 80 models still, which is just nuts. Still, oh, excuse me. Still 2/3 of their men left. Oh, and then a big Infernal Gateway catches my 2 Longbeards here, but Dwarves with the new 35% spell resist taking a lot of damage, but able to ultimately tank that very well. So they'll continue to hold. Their leadership barely holds, they don't break. But Longbeards are great for that. That's again the encourage aura they're giving each other. And here we go. We're piling in with some Slayers now. We've sent some Dwarf Warriors to screen off these warriors to the left. To the left. Sorry, getting my orientation right here. They came from point 1, but now retreating, so we're going to chase with the Dwarf Warriors. We got the Iron Drakes forward to destroy the last of these weird spawn. Oh, that's just actually normal spawn of Tzeentch. And with my Runesmith and Belagar, we've just been running out, trying to screen the Flamers, push them away. And we feel like we've done our job, so we turn around, we're going to get into these Forsaken, try to help the Longbeards hold. And over here, my Longbeards get into an engagement with some Furies and these Marauders, and his Chaos Lord charges into the Bugman's Rangers to try to stop them from firing. One, it didn't work, and two, statistically, the Chaos Sorcerer Lord isn't doing that much damage. The weapon defense and melee attack of the Bugman Rangers is decent enough for them to actually do fairly consistent damage to the Chaos Lord, and what with their regeneration in play, they actually outtrade the Chaos Sorcerer Lord here, so it's actually not that dangerous for me at all to sit there and take that, haven't be distracted. These Longbeards will clear out these Marauders just fine, but there's some Flamers coming in. Over here, I've decided to let my Dwarf Warriors charge in, chase these Knights, and I've summoned in some reinforcements from the Vanguard deploy. So we've got these Miners I summoned earlier, they're going to make a charge down here. We've got these Rangers to support. I figured these Warriors will hold for quite a while. These Miners will do decent work to these Marauders. I've also brought the Bugsman's Rangers I had from the middle over here to support, and I figure with these units in combination I can take these two, and we can take point 3. And you can also see that now that I've cleared out many of these units through atrocious battle, we're actually starting to capture the second point now. So we're only 200 points behind our opponent, 250 odd. We're taking the second point, and we're holding number 1 quite well. So here come the Flamers though, and they're going to be roasting our Longbeards. Not much we can do about it. Taking pretty decent damage there. But the crossbows are online, the Sorcerer Lord is flying away, we've summoned some more Rangers, and we're prepared to shoot this thing down. It may kill my Longbeards, but it won't live long enough to take the point. That's the logic there. So in the center, he pulls out his Forsaken, who could have sat here and continued to grind. We were quite weakened, but now that he saw the Grumbling Guard coming in and the Trollhammers, I guess he felt he better fight to hold the third point, which he could tell he was losing a grip of. So we sent some Furies to block up my reinforcements for coming in. I had some blasting charges, some Rangers. They're now sort of stuck in a big blob. I've also got these Miners coming in, which are blobbing up his 2 melee units here as they continue to take fire from these Bugman's Rangers. So he sends his Chaos Warrior, Sorcerer Lord, into the Bugman Rangers, going to get some damage done, but you'll ultimately see that that's a bad trade for him. More Furies coming in. I try to pull the Miners away so they can throw their blasting charges. I also summon in some more blasting charges, figuring I'm just going to need a little oomph to get through the new infantry that he sent forward, new unit of Marauders. I think the Forsaken are going to be coming this way as well. And on here, this point, the Flamers are dead. He ended up running around trying to get away from my Longbeards to fire at my Rangers, but I couldn't get an angle. Some Marauders in the trees, but nothing to worry about. I send Belagar forward to clear off some of these weak units that had come back from routing. And we've unsummoned a lot of stuff that we didn't need anymore, that were weak, so that we have more things to summon back in. And unfortunately, I gave a shoot order to my Iron Drakes, and they just walked forwards into the woods rather than shooting from back here. So we send in the Grumbling Guard to cover their retreat. And you can see the Sorcerer Lord not getting much done over here with Bugman Rangers. Been fighting for over 30 seconds now, and he's just about to lose his shield, and we've taken barely any damage. So he brings the Forsaken forwards. You can see that we've kind of had to fall back a bit. Our push here didn't go super successfully, but we're gearing up for another go at it. We've got these Miners, we've got another unit with blasting charges, we've got some crossbows in the woods, and one of the units we unsummoned was the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. So we're saving up points. You can see right now we only have 1,400 to go, and we can summon in the Norgrimling Ironbreakers from the Vanguard reinforcement point and use them to push forwards to this point, and boom! There go the Forsaken, a satchel of blasting charges, saw that they were mostly destroyed, but of course there's more where that came from, and we got quite a few units here. And then boom, the Grumbling Guard, the Trollhammer torpedoes, another Infernal Gate. Not much I can do about it. This lone unit, the single Slayer left, is just having a break. He's very tired after all. But look at this. I took a lot of damage there, got a lot of hits, a lot of HP damage on my Grumbling Guard and my Trollhammer torpedoes, but it's the Marauders that end up routing and running off the field after that spell. But the next wave is coming. We got one unit of spawn here, we got another unit of Marauders, and yet another unit of spawn, so, you know, they're going to be problems. We got the Warriors here, we got the remnants of the Longbeards that survived. Belagar's up to the challenge, the Runesmith as well, and yeah, the Trollhammer torpedoes. They've got 16 models out of 28, so still plenty of ammo left to spend, and they'll do plenty of damage to those spawn. If you watch the HP bar of the spawn, let's see another volley. Let's see it, come on! They're taking, wow, there's a long time in between volleys here. There's no way they don't see. Yeah, so there was a couple of hundred damage per volley. They've got plenty of ammo left, so they'll be doing that. We're bringing the Rangers that we had over here guarding this point forward to shoot these guys in the back. And over here, oh yes, here we go. So we've got the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers coming down. You can see that we've managed to get all the infantry of the enemy that we haven't routed or hasn't run away blobbed up in a single point. And this is just going to be absolute perfect joy for any Dawi player. Is these beautiful satchels over the heads of the Rangers into the miners, blowing up Chaos Warriors. 2 units at once. The extreme value. What a beautiful thing to behold. So boom, only using 60% odd of the Ironbreakers ammo there. You can see this Chaos Warrior Lord is still fighting these Bugman's Ironbreakers and is at actually 40% HP left, so just very good there. Also, the Grumbling Guard have come forward to finish off some of these low health units that are still lingering around and just absolutely fighting, brawling like champs. We're holding the center, keeping the capture weight good. We've got Belagar holding the front, the Runesmith with him, some more Trollhammer torpedoes firing, 1 unit of spawn completely dealt with. We're getting through the second, some Rangers in the back. And I haven't really been able to catch it, but I've been using some Runes of Wrath and Ruin to clear out some infantry here, and it's done a really good job. Big fan of that. Fury's trying to disrupt my fire, but it's too late. I've dealt with this. I've got 1 unit here that's trying to capture my point, but I just send a unit of miners with blasting charges from the Vanguard deployment. You know, fairly easy. Yeah, and it's looking good. We've got complete control of point 3, point 2, point 1. Some Marauders coming down, some Forsaken, but with 300 points from victory, controlling all 3 means we'll be done very quickly. Got some Slayers here now. You know, it's kind of done and dusted. Dwarves are great. Dwarves feel so much fun, and with there's more time on the clock, it's just great. You really do feel like you can take your time to sort of come up with plans, make advances, grind through hard to kill things for dwarves, like spawn, for example. And yeah, the benefit is we get to really take control piece by piece of the map and have a good time. So some Furies are going to come in here and destroy my miners. The miners not going to throw their charges and get any value, but that's okay because, as I say, we kind of are done. We just do a little fast forward action here. He concedes, and that's game. So, having a look at some value here at the end. Norgrimling's Ironbreakers, a good amount of value, paying for themselves with a bit of change. I did have to summon them twice, of course, but still, even if they didn't get any value, they just held the line like champs. They really let me take control of the back line, stop him from rampaging, spawn around, and then continue forward with the push. If it wasn't for the Ironbreakers, he would have just overwhelmed me and run up the hill and into my spawn, and there would have been nothing I could do. So, I feel like I want to bring them every game. They're just so good. Longbeards, of course, not getting a ton of value on the board, but having extreme value at holding, taking punishment, getting the big gateway spell cast on them and still holding the line for a good couple of minutes longer. Just so excellent. And Belagar as well, just having the same role, moving forward, getting involved in units, adding to their tankiness while tanking himself, really good for holding the line. Runesmith did great. It's not going to be reflected here in the value, but there's lots of armor buffing and such. I think I would focus more on using the Rune of Wrath and Ruin and maybe one of the slowing runes and just bringing only that. The armor defense buffs and the damage reduction buffs were good, but I felt like the damage is just kind of excellent in an infantry focus game mode like Domination. Anyway, Rangers doing okay, blasting charges doing very well. If we actually have a look at the Ekrans, we can see, oh okay, only 600. I felt like it was better. Oh well, still paying for themselves, and then some. Yeah, look at this. This Bugman's Ranger's the one that fought the Lord. Got 2,000 value, which is excellent. Grumbling Guard doing extremely well. Iron Drake Trollhammer Torpedoes doing extremely well as well, 2,000 value. And the Skyhammer, we didn't end up summoning it, but in a matchup where there wasn't quite so many Furies around, I'd feel more comfortable selecting it early on. But yeah, otherwise, my opponent getting great damage done on his spawn, despite us tearing them down reasonably effectively, they still performed really well. And the infantry of Tzeentch, except for the Flamer, it was really the Furies that got the value of diving on my ranged units. None of his infantry was able to outvalue mine, or outtrade mine, especially with the blasting and the range support, so... Yeah, interesting. I feel like this matchup may be Dwarf favored, just based on this performance alone, but obviously there are many different builds out there for Tzeentch. They can be very flexible, very creative. Village may be a big problem. Kairos, obviously large entity can smash through Dwarves. Could also be a problem. Anyway, it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to playing more Dwarves in the new patch. So I'll see you then. And until next time, thanks for watching.